All right, we're back. So the UFC's back this weekend. Finally, you took a week off. Fight night, Dariush versus Serukan, and this card's a banger. It's a great card for a fight night card. It's pretty stacked compared to what they've been doing to us recently. Before we start, I got to tell you guys, BetUS promo code Iceman, the best sports gambling website in the business. I'm telling you, use promo code Iceman. I'm going to get you all the offers I possibly can, and you hear it from everyone. Sometimes they win, they lose, they're still getting bonuses and offers, and I haven't heard of any other website that's giving the amount of offers and free bets, stuff like that BetUS is giving. And those free bets you can turn into something, man. Believe it or not, you can turn into something. Can't go wrong. And if you lose, what? Who cares? It was a free bet. Yeah, if you use promo code Iceman, you're going to get 125% bonus. So use wisely. And we got a good card to bet on this one. So, Beneil Dariush taking on Arman Tsarukyan. Now, this is interesting because both of them have a similar opponent in Mateusz Gamrot that they both fought pretty recently. Now, Mateusz Gamrot beat Arman Tsarukyan. Close battle. Some people thought Arman won. Some people thought Gamrot won. I thought Gamrot came in and stole the later rounds with the grappling, which is surprising because Arman is such a strong grappler himself. And now he's taking on Benny Dariush. And Benny Dariush, if you guys don't know, he was on a roll. And then he ran into a number one contender fight against Charles Oliveira and got finished pretty quickly by Charles Oliveira. So he's got to win over Gamrot, and Gamrot's got to win over Tsarukyan. And going into it, look at this, minus 275. They think Arman is going to destroy Beneil Dariush. I don't know if I tend to agree with that. I think it's going to be a lot closer fight than what people are, they think Dariush is going to get run over. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I do have Arman Tsarukyan winning. I'm not going to bet against Arman Tsarukyan. He's been, phenomenal. I got to go with him. Benny Dariush, the guy looks like he's 40, but he's only 34 years old, still in his prime. All those gray hairs, don't look at it. He needs to get it dyed and he'll look a little younger, but he's only 34. Arman 27. I'm got to go with Arman, man. His grappling so good, his striking is excellent. He's really got it all, right? And I got to go with Arman Tsarukyan. And Arman Tsarukyan's only two losses, in the UFC is to Islam Makhachev, which is the champ. No shame losing to Makhachev. That was his first fight in the UFC, was against Islam. And then his second fight was to, the ADCC trials winner, Mateusz Gamrot, phenomenal grappler. And a lot of people thought he may have won that fight. So if he comes over and starches Beneil Dariush, dude, you got to think top contender fight for sure, man. For sure. Hold on. Yeah. I got to go with Serukan, man. And don't look at their opponents and be like, oh, this guy beat Gamrot and this guy lost to Gamrot. MMA math doesn't work like that. Styles make fights. And I think Arman Tsarukyan is going to be a bad matchup for Dariush because he's hard to get down, too. Dariush, you're not going to be able to work your jiu-jitsu on Arman Tsarukyan. I think it's going to be hard to get him down. Now, this fight, Bobby Green taking on Jalen Turner. Bobby Green plus 200? What? Plus 200 against the guy, Jalen Turner, who's coming off two straight losses, and he's taking the fight on short notice? Bro, Bobby Green's a gamer, bro. Do not count out Bobby Green, man. I know he's 37, bro. He's been looking like fire, and this fight probably going to stay on the feet. Jalen Turner likes to strike, super tall for the weight class, long, lanky reach. Dude, Bobby Green can stand with anybody, man. Bobby Green is slick. I mean, he lost. Okay, so lost to Jalen Turner, fought Gamrot, lost to Gamrot, right? Different type of fighter. Gamrot's a grappler. Bobby Green's a striker. Now, Dan Hooker, on the other hand, he lost a split decision to Dan Hooker. Close fight. And that was who Bobby Green was first scheduled to fight. And literally a week and a half notice, Jalen Turner's taking this fight. And he is literally a huge, huge favorite. I don't know if I agree with that. I'm going with the underdog here, Bobby Green. I think he's got to get it done. Up next, Rob Font taking on Davison Figueredo. Now, Figueredo, this might be his first 3 rounder in a long time, man, because this guy's been, he's fighting for the title at 125. Now he's moving up in weight, less weight to cut, so he's gonna have even better cardio, and he's only got to fight 3 rounds. Dude, this is much easier for Davison Figueredo. I think he should have been at 135 the whole time. Rob Font coming off a loss to the Sandman. Sandhagen. So he's got 3 losses in his last 4 fights. Now, to give him credit, those are a lot of good fighters that he's lost to. Jose Aldo, outstanding. Marlon Chito Vera, guy who's fighting for the title. Corey Sandhagen, probably guys should be fighting for the title. All top guys in that division. Now he's taking on, the former champ from 125. He does have a big win over Adrian Yanez, but I think I got to go with the underdog. I'm going with Davison Figueredo. I think Davison Figueredo is going to look outstanding at 135. I think if he uses his grappling, Rob Font's going to have a hard time with Davison Figueredo's grappling. And Davison Figueredo can strike too, man. He's got power in both hands. He's a finisher, man. And the fact that it's only 3 rounds and not 5 rounds, he's really going to push that pace. And I think I got to go with the underdog, Davison Figueredo, on that one. First fight at 135, I think it's going to be great. It's going to be good. Sean Brady taking on Kelvin Gastelum. So this is interesting because Kelvin Gastelum moving back to welterweight, he's going to have a hard time making the weight, bro. He's had a hard time making 170 from the past. I don't think this is a smart idea for Kelvin Gastelum. Even odds fight. I'm leaning, slower. Sean Brady was undefeated going into that Bilal Muhammad fight, and he just got starched by Bilal Muhammad, and he got knocked out. And Bilal Muhammad doesn't even knock people out. He's a grappler. And now you're taking on Kelvin Gastelum. Kelvin Gastelum hits hard, man. He hits hard. I'm worried about the ground. I mean the weight. I'm worried about the weight. Yeah, I got to go with Sean Brady. I don't even, to be honest, I think Kelvin Gastelum misses weight. That's my opinion. I think Kelvin Gastelum is going to have a hard time making 170 as he's tried before. And even at an older age now, it's just going to get harder. The older you get, it's just going to become harder. So I have a feeling he's going to miss the weight. And I think, Sean Brady is going to have to either accept Kelvin missing the weight, or this fight might not even happen. Because in my opinion, I don't know if Kelvin Gastelum's going to make 170. So I'll take Sean Brady because I don't know how that weight cut's going to affect Kelvin Gastelum. And I hate taking people coming off knockout losses. Sean Brady coming off a knockout loss, but I got to go with him just because of the weight issue. So Clay, the Carpenter, doing the damn thing. This guy has been in the UFC. When was his first fight in the UFC? Let me check here. So the Carpenter's first fight in the UFC was UFC 64, 2006. It's now almost 2024, almost 18 years into the UFC. That's impressive. Doing it still at this age is extremely impressive. And you're taking on some Brazilian killer in Joaquim Silva, who's coming off a loss to Arman Tsarukyan, which, no shame losing to Arman Tsarukyan. But I got to go with Joaquim Silva. Just the age, man, the miles. He's got a lot of miles on the vehicle, man. And it's gonna end real soon. I think this is the last time you might see Clay Guida, maybe one more, but you got to hang it up sooner or later. But who knows? If he comes in here and looks dominant, which he could, he might be able to take Joaquim down and, lay and pray, ground and pound, this type of style. But Joaquim Silva, these Brazilians, they got great Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and just the age, man. 34 and the other guy's over 40. Yeah, I got to go with Joaquim Silva. Punahali Soriano taking on Dustin Stolfitz. I'll go with Punahali Soriano on that one. Misha Tate is back. It's been how long? 37 years old, getting older, taking on Julia Vila. I don't know about that one. I'm not the greatest with the female picks. I tend to stay away from the female fights, but Zachary Reese, Cody Brundage. I'll take the undefeated Zachary Reese. on that one. And this is the one I was looking at. Drakkar Klose taking on Joe Selecki. So Drakkar Klose coming off, 2 straight wins, not bad. That last loss, he was actually winning the fight, cracked Beneil Dariush pretty hard. And you see that highlight of Joe Rogan and, John Anik and DC just going crazy. And that was the Beneil Dariush fight because he had Beneil Dariush on skates. And then Beneil came back and landed a bomb of a left hand and put Drakkar Klose out. But man, Drakkar Klose he's been killing it, man. Like he's got some big wins in his UFC career. Wins over Mark Jacasey, Lando Venata, beat Bobby Green, who's fighting in the co-main event. Unanimous decision went over Bobby Green, may I add. And now he's coming off 2 straight wins, and now he's taking on Joe Selecki. Joe Selecki himself is coming off a nice rear naked choke win over Carl Deaton. He's actually last lost to Dan Manasoyu, who's like that Big Dan. This is in grappling. He lost to Big Dan. No shame losing to Big Dan. He's been running through everybody at ADCC. He's been traveling all over, just crushing people. So it's funny because he had a UFC Fight Pass invitational match against Big Dan, and Big Dan just destroyed him. Heel hooked the shit out of him. Yeah, so I gotta go with Drakkar Klose. I think he should be able to get it done. And this fight is dead even on odds. I got to go with Drakkar Klose. Not a bad bet for your parlay. Steve Garcia taking on, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. I mean, his first name, but I'll just say Costa. So Steve Garcia is coming off a pretty big win over Shahilan Nurdenbeki and Chase Hooper. But he lost to Mahishat, got just one punch in the first minute. Now he's taking on Brazilian Costa. I got to go with Costa. I think, he did lose to Thiago Moises in his first fight in the UFC. He fought Thiago Moises, got choked out, but that was a big step up fighting a guy like Thiago Moises. Moises has been there with everybody. And then the second fight in the UFC, he fought Austin Lingo, just looked completely dominated him, won a unanimous decision. So I think he should be able to crush Steve Garcia. So I'll go with the Brazilian on that one. Rodolfo Bellato, Trator. See, I haven't seen too much of him. I've only seen his. He had 2 fights on the Contender Series. So he had one fight on the Contender Series, which he got KO'd by Vitor Petrino, who's undefeated at the time. I think he might be still undefeated. Yeah, he's 10-0. So he lost to a guy who's really good, right? Undefeated, 10-0. We don't really know what the ceiling is for him. Now, he's coming off 2 straight wins outside the UFC, right? In LFA. Then he fought on the Contender Series again against another undefeated guy and looked really good against Murtaza Talha. And now his first fight actually in the UFC, not on the Contender Series, is against Ihor Pretoria. Pretoria is coming off a vicious loss to Carlos Olberg. If you guys don't know Carlos Olberg, he's Izzy Adesanya's training partner, and he's pretty vicious. Great striker. And I think I'm going with the Brazilian on this one. I'll go with Rodolfo Bellato, and he's minus 500, so clearly heavy favorite. And the last one I'll touch on here is Wellington Turman against Jared Gooden. I'll go with the Brazilian. Wellington Turman, I think he gets it done. A lot of Brazilians on this card, and it's in Austin, Texas. But yeah, if you guys need a place to bet, make that money. If you guys feeling my picks, not feeling it, either way, there's still money to be made, right? Do what you're feeling. And this is a great card. It's a sleeper card, what I call it. So let's do it. Out. Oh, sorry. If I haven't posted my picks yet, but I'm gonna try to post my picks on my IG before this weekend. Out.